I can't even control this. Now we're back. This is, right, my middle name is Calum, just in case this is separated from the other videos. Not my first name. That was the other thing. Mick, my friend, who started what should be called Mick's List, he said, don't use your real name on the internet. This was in 2012, and it just didn't feel honest. I've got nicknames. When you're a police officer, you're called various things. We couldn't call it a jobby list; it would be totally inappropriate. The other one was Bronski and handcuffs. Yeah, that sounds a bit S&M, sorry. Bear in mind this is 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm not in control of my senses. So I don't know whether we'll upload this. It's probably a trial test, but handcuffs is it's actually you've got to be trained and licensed to be a debt counsellor. And the first charity we did all that, and because I'd been in court many times as a police officer, I was in court a lot more as a Mackenzie friend. It's the thing, a legal term, when you're not, I don't hold a law degree, and when you're in a big law court with your wee client and your wee soul here trying to help them because they can't afford a lawyer, you're in not your uniform, your suit, and it's usually private chambers, but you're in a big room or this beautiful big Victorian place that, I'm not going to name the particular court, but there was a lot of people there, and my nickname, because I'm not a lawyer, my nickname was the lawyer with handcuffs, and of course being Glasgow, it got abbreviated to handcuffs, and you start to answer that, and it's a bit odd, and it's not a nickname that you would want. It's really laughing, it's not funny. In this big, where all the courts, big foyer, memory issues, the big Victorian place where everybody's congregating waiting to go into court, somebody at the other end sees me and yells handcuffs, meaning me, to go and see them, my client. And of course if you're in a big court and there's an electricity in these places, a lot of nervous people, some quite senior lawyers and some senior crime families, and somebody yells handcuffs. I can still remember from the left, there was this, in the distance this cop was running across, there was 2 court ushers and quite a melee there because somebody thought they needed handcuffs to arrest somebody. They didn't. It was this idiot at the other end of the hall. I fortunately beetled off. Everybody was okay, but the person that was with me didn't know what was going on and didn't know why I was getting called handcuffs. But we went to one of the side rooms. A lot of this is held in private, and we managed. Well, we got halfway through with the sheriff. I think it was a court. I can't remember if it was the sheriff. It's in private chambers, and you sort out the money problems. But somebody, and you see it in the films, somebody came with a bit of paper and handed it to me, and I gave it to the sheriff. And the sheriff handed it back and said, "You better go and see this gentleman." And it was one of the most senior law officers in Scotland. I'd seen on the television, but I'd never actually been in the chamber, so I get escorted upstairs to this gorgeous, this is inappropriate, wood-lined room with lots of books and this very senior law officer, and I'm thinking, am I going to end up in the wee jail downstairs or at the front door? But he said, "You'll be handcuffs then," and I'm thinking, so that's actually McLean, and he said, "Would you like to sit down and would you like a drink?" And he was pointing to some decanters, and I said, "A drink, sir." He said, "A cup of tea," and I'm still thinking whether I'm going downstairs in handcuffs or out the door. So I said, "A cup of tea would be really nice, thank you, excuse me." So this senior law officer then asked me how I came about this name, and I said, "I don't hold a law degree, sir, and I'm just a Mackenzie friend, and sometimes I have the right to, I knew this, the right to audience and can speak on behalf of a client that can't afford a lawyer." And again, he knew all that. I'm going to have to hold my composure here. Sorry. We had a cup of tea and some pleasantries, and he slid an envelope across the desk. And we concluded the meeting. There was no reprimand or anything. Perfectly lovely gentleman. And I walked out and there was a cheque for £1,000 in the envelope. A personal cheque. And the reason that meant so much is because we have a rather morbid statistic, and I'll maybe explain on another video why it matters, but £298 is the cost of a life. Of course, I like fundraising for the charity. But that's not, we've got plenty of money. We did the bank heist. The bank heist was legal. It wasn't a bank heist. It was we bought a bank to make a point to a bank manager that had been shunted along to a smaller branch, and it was a bigger branch. We renovated it. There's a long story we'll cover on another video or another narrative. But when I got out of the senior law officer's chambers with a cheque, which wasn't expected, and that was for the charity, that was the last of 3 people, which is why you lose your composure sometimes, because it shouldn't be down to £298 a life. Right, guys, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if I'm making any sense. You've helped me a bit because the PTSD is abated, it's gone down. It can be quite a lethal thing, it's a horrible thing. I wouldn't wish it on anybody. Unfortunately, a lot of people got it, which is why we're changing the list to just a list. We're taking all the pictures out. This is the Calum's list thing. As I said, it should be called Mixed List, but it's Calum's list, and myself inherited it along with some other friends, and we're actually in a really lucky position, thanks to Mick, that we can do something about it, which is maybe the way it was meant to be. Don't know what your belief system is, but there will be banks repossessed, I think. That's another video. By charity, not if you've been a debt counsellor or been in money troubles, you'll be aware of either your home or your flat, or being at risk of, if you're renting, being evicted, or if it's you own it, the eviction order. It's not repossession, it's possession, the terms that's used. So repossession doesn't really hold validity in law. But there's a new Land Reform Act that means, and there's a very important decision by Sheriff Niven Smith. The ruling's only just come down, and this is this video is in mid-June 2025. So we've got barristers, fortunately, that pro bono free. They're looking through the terminology, but what it looks like on the Land Reform Act and the Community Empowerment Act legislation is that it would be inflammatory to say that we're going to repossess or possess bank buildings, but if a community is harmed and it comes together and wants to buy the bank, then we would hope that the bank would play nicely if it's the last bank in town, and a lot of them do. There's community banking hubs that are coming about, and they're a very elegant solution. The building's kept. I think it's the post office that are running the community hubs just now. There's quite a few different organisations, but they're rolling out. It's the last bank in town to keep it open. So the post office takes it over. RBS uses it Monday, Santander Tuesday, HBOS Wednesday, and so on. It means everybody, and especially disabled people, can get, or elderly can get to a bank branch, because I can vouch for the fact that I need to go into a branch. That computer won't work online. It's idiot features here, and that computer, between the two of us, I can't get online to Santander. Anyway, that's another story. I've kept you guys going for about 8 minutes, so I'm going to go now. Thank you for your company, and I don't know if this has worked. We'll keep the fingers crossed, and if it does, hopefully when I'm not less blurry-eyed and less emotional, we can have another chat. I think I'll switch this off.